Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome again to another episode of ArmTalk. I'm your host, Jody Williams, and today, my friend and I, Mr. Kyle DePew, we are going to put a bow tie on one of the most greatest events this past weekend. Not trying to upstage what we saw against when we saw the Dave Chavy versus Levon, but the King of California. Kyle, how you doing?
Jody, I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for having me on. I'm eager to talk about King of Cali with you.
You know what? Me too, because the build-up on paper was like, oh, man, this is going to be a great event. And it was. Don't make no mistake about it. In fact, when I get off, you and I are going to chit-chat because it gave me an idea about how I can do something like that with Oregon guys. But that's neither here nor there. We're here to talk about the King of California. And I must add, as I was watching it, and when it was all said and done, it seemed a bit lopsided. You know, I don't know what your thoughts were. I mean, aside from the production was great. You had camera guys there. Audience was awesome. Everybody was filming, having a good time and stuff. Everyone was cheering their favorites on. But to me, the matches itself, it seems like that on paper looked good, but when the results came out, it was kind of a little one-sided. Do you agree, disagree?
No, well, I think all matches ended up being lopsided to a degree. I think we had only a few that had battles in the first round, and then one where Tom, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Tom had beat Tony left-handed in the very first round.
That's what I thought. I mean, it was a quick pin,
and then Tony won the rest,
Yeah.
So I had talked to a lot of people leading up to this promotion, and I'm pretty sure some people's predictions were pretty accurate, but a lot of people changed their opinions as the match got closer, you know. When this was first announced, Derek still had all the hype he had. He had the YouTube channel he had. However, I was having a hard time finding any arm wrestlers that were backing Derek in this.
Right.
People didn't want to back Tony at all and his chances to win until the match got a lot closer. People really started believing in him.
Mm-hmm.
And Allen was always backed heavily. Dallas was backed heavily, is favorited over Cody. However, before the match happened, most people that I spoke with thought Cody was going to win.
Right.
So the perception going into this changed a lot as the hype built up.
The one thing I will say that, well, there's many things I like to say, but I will say this. It was good and maybe not so good to have a bunch of we're seeing so many referees with these super matches, and it begs the question. I was like going, okay, well, we saw Veronica, referee, Vosgen, Scott Wynn. I think we saw Paul Stevens referee. You know, we've seen a lot of referees there. Not a bad thing to have. However, do you think it should have been more consistent with the refereeing? Because, and I'm only saying that because the match I want to talk about is Jonathan Hoffman and Mega Mike. And, watching that over and over, I'm thinking, and I made a comment on one of the social medias that filmed it. And I was like going, Hoffman, why are you constantly going into his hand? So, and this is just me talking, and you're an arm wrestler, so you understand where I'm coming from. If I'm pulling somebody and I go right into the power, I'm thinking I'm going to just see what happens. And it doesn't work. Why would you do it the second match? Why would you do it a third match? I'm like, why are you doing that? And then he responded today, Hoffman, by saying, well, the referees didn't square our shoulders and our wrists weren't straight. I was already started at a pronator, a supinator position. So my question to you is that, well, why? How come the refs didn't fix that? You know what I mean? Square the shoulders and that kind of thing.
You gotta realize, I mean, the rule set of this was WAF rules.
Right.
Some of the refs were more experienced, like you have Boston, Alex De La Torre, Scott Wynn. Those guys are very experienced WAF refs.
Mm-hmm.
And you had Veronica, who is not as experienced of a WAF ref. And then we had Paul Stevens and Crispin, who jumped in to help out, right, when we needed them to. Nerves get to people, right? So the refs, in my opinion, did the best job. Like, there should not be complaints on the refs, right? Because this is realistic arm wrestling, right? Even when you plan something with strict rules,
right?
That's how it goes sometimes. It's really up to the athletes to make sure they get what they want in the setup. It's not up to the referees.
Agreed.
It's the referee's job to make the match as 50-50 as possible. However, things are unpredictable, right?
Yeah.
And you could also say that the athletes don't get the things they want when nerves start to kick in, right? So I don't want to make excuses for people or anything, but this is basically what it comes down to, you know. When things are, you know, built up like this, there's a lot of nerves. Not everyone got there before the start time because there was a lot of traffic. It was Labor Day weekend.
Yeah.
So that's just how it plans out. However, I think it was a great event. We had a great reffing. All the athletes took it very serious, came in great forms, and we saw who won on those days, you know, or that day.
And I don't want to rag too much on the refs because we all know that without the refs, you don't have an arm wrestling tournament, event, or anything. So I'm not here to, you know, rag on the refs. I was just commenting on what Jonathan Hoffman said of the post I had put up there. And I was like going, yeah, well, if you felt that way, and maybe it's just I was surprised because Hoffman's a seasoned veteran in this sport. He knows, you know, what goes on, all that kind of stuff. But it just seemed like, why do you keep running to the wall like something's going to change? And Mega Mike, you know, to hit into his power or to hit into his comfortable spot, you know, it just begs the question, like, Hoffman, I know you're smarter than that. I'm not, you know, questioning your intelligence. I was wondering, why do you keep doing that? But that's neither here nor there.
Probably just nerves,
right?
I would assume. Hoffman's one of the most decorated arm wrestlers at the event, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's used to very strict rules, and these were very strict rules, but he hasn't competed in a while, right? So he was coming back with his first match in what was probably a couple years.
Right.
And we did not give him an easy match to come back to. We gave him one of the strongest uppercomers in North America. Yeah.
You know, and like I said, it's only a matter of time. And now when this is all said and done, and it leaves us with questions. I mean, there were some questions answered, but of those questions that got answered, produced more questions. So now it's like, okay, question number 1 to you, Kyle. All right. With Derek winning, with Mega Mike winning, are they on a collision course if by chance we have a King of California number 2 next year?
It would depend on what Derek and Mega Mike want.
Right.
Currently, Mega Mike has no intention of pulling super heavyweights. He only has the intention of becoming one of the strongest 242 arm wrestlers in North America.
Gotcha.
Which, if he stays at that weight, his chances of beating Derek are much, much lower, right?
Right.
Because Derek is trying to become the number 1 overall so that he can just keep going up the ladder, right? So they have different goals. Everyone wants them to pull because it's a hype match, but people need to realize that these guys are training partners, you know? For them to pull each other is not really ideal for either one of them. Right. At this time, I would say.
And it's going to take somebody to come out of the woodworks because I'm like, okay. And I will say this, after Derek, you know, just, you know, dominated over Tom, and Tom probably made one of the most kind, sportsmanlike gestures. And he took the mic, had the crown, said, look, guys, all the legends he mentioned of King of California, he went through the list. And he said he got through Eric Waffel, who actually he took the King of California title from, and now he's happy to give it to Derek. And I thought we don't see enough of that sportsmanship. And I thought that was a kind gesture by Tom. And I was kind of happy that it came that way because I don't know if a regular Tom Nelson 5 years ago would have done that. You know, he would have been like, yeah, whatever, blah, 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 blah. But the fact that, you know what? Hey, you proved it. You're the man. I got nothing to say about that. That was an awesome, you know, way of doing that.
Definitely. Yeah, that was what I was hoping for. No matter the outcome, right, that there'd be a lot of sportsmanship, and I knew there would be.
Right.
So Tom and Derek are actually really good friends, you know?
Yeah.
This was just a long built-up thing, you know?
Good.
Tom's always been the guy. Derek has always wanted to become number 1. Whether he lets you on to believe that or not, I mean, this was a huge goal of Derek's. So I'm just glad they were able to face, and the torch has officially been passed down to Derek.
Well, you're on the show a couple of times last week leading up to this event, and I sat there and told you, I said, okay, don't be surprised come Sunday morning or maybe this past Monday morning, hey, are you going to have a King of California 2? Hey, Kyle, are you going to have a Queen of Cali? And lo and behold, what do we have? Tell everybody out there how many hits you got about that.
Hundreds, to be honest with you, Jody. I have people that are already planning out King of Cali 2. However, I can't give any confirmation on that because the goals for that have to be there. And They are to a degree. Like, I have very good matches I could make happen at a King of Cali 2. However, I need to get resources in order, and I have to make sure that that's a goal that I want myself. Because to take all that on is difficult, right? So my main goals right now are just to grow arm wrestling in San Diego.
Right.
Throw a big kids event with Chance Shaw and Tim Lewis. And then I will be doing a Queen of Cali sometime in May.
Right. And, and with that being said, I hope, because you can't say King of California and not have, Jimmy Shelton there. I'm thinking, if you really think about it, you're like going, wait a minute. Nat Fit wasn't even competing. King of California, he wasn't competing. So I'm sure.
He almost was.
Right.
We were just trying to figure things out. He had super matches, right? Like, Jamie was someone I wanted on the card. However, my original goal was to only have 4 super matches on the card.
Right.
Because I didn't want it to be too much, right? There's a lot of negotiating involved, right? So with the super matches I had, it was good, right? I was worried if I added another one too soon from the day, then it would just overcomplicate things a little too much.
Right.
Because a King of Cali event like this wasn't a tournament, right? It was all super matches. So it puts the pressure on everyone involved to make it the most special super matches we can try to make it, right?
Yeah.
And when you try to do 10 super matches or however many, it becomes harder. And I'm not capable at this moment to do it. That's why I have to get more experience, get more resources so that one day I could do the hypothetical King of Cali 2 with a bunch of super matches, right?
Mm-hmm.
But right now I need to get some more things under my belt.
One thing, one of the questions I did not ask, and I forgot to ask you when we originally talked about this, was like, how'd you come up with the matchups? I was kind of curious how that even started.
Well, Derek Smith and Tom Nelson was always the goal 2 years ago.
Right.
However, the original goal was to just make it fun. It was never like a King title, right? The King thing just came over time. The original goal was to get every member of Game of Arms on a card.
Gotcha.
For super matches. However, that was a goal that would have been very difficult to do. So I had to just go back to what was the root goal, Tom and Derek. Put the resources into that, make sure that's the thing, and then build everything around that. And I'm happy because I think I got my very best outcome. With Alan and Ricky, I can't really ask for a better match, right? Alan came in the most serious form he possibly could have. Right? It was probably one of the strongest versions of Alan Fisher we've seen in a while.
Mm-hmm.
Ricky had a lot of circumstances that made it difficult for him to compete that day, but he still prepared very hard over the last few months for it. Cody and Dallas were great to work with. Both those guys are very easy to work with. They both were very passionate about the match. Awesome. I'm really happy. And then Mega Mike and Hoffman, that was a tough match to make happen just because the back and forth, trying to set it up, make sure everyone needed what they needed, right? Yeah. However, it was one of the most rewarding matches because there's not really, out of the people on the card, Hoffman, for his super heavyweight range, is one of the most decorated people. Like, he has
no doubt
state titles in California, right? Mega Mike has only had a couple pro tournaments under his belt. So that was a super hype-up match, in my opinion, for the people that have been in the sport for a while and the people that are just coming into it. Because everyone loves Mega Mike right now. Like, he's a big name in the arm wrestling world. So it was a cool match to have Hoffman and Mega Mike face off like they did. And then Tony and Tom, I mean, that was huge. I really think Tony's been the top left hand in Southern Cali for a while now. For supers, and he has tons of side pressure, hand, top roll, and I really think Tony leveled up for this match in a big way.
Oh, yeah.
We just saw the craziest Tony we've ever seen in terms of strength, endurance, everything. I mean, Tom still got him that first match on speed, which is something Tony was a little worried about, but Tony adapted just the way he said he would. So I think it's awesome that Tom did this, took it serious, and allowed Southern Cali to have this opportunity to pull Tom Nelson, you know?
If I threw something at you, and just for an idea, tell me what you think, okay? You ready for this? What if
I'm ready.
the next King of California turned into Northern California versus Southern California? What would your answer be?
I'm not opposed to it. The only difficulty is as I get more experience with these King of Calis, right?
Mm-hmm.
I really do want matches that don't have to have as many rules in setting them up, right? Like, I don't want it to have to be a North versus South, because then that's a whole different concept, right?
Right.
It's really supposed to be like there's a number one, and then there's someone trying to take the number one.
Gotcha.
Which, in circumstances, that sometimes is people that like each other and train together occasionally, right? Like Cody and Dallas, they occasionally train together and pull together maybe a couple times a month. However, leading up to this, they stopped training together so that they could focus and try to beat each other.
Yeah.
So sometimes that's the matches you get on this idea. However, the idea can evolve. You know, it can definitely change. It just depends.
I get that. And the worst thing is, like, you're going against a person you've trained together with and that kind of thing. It's like, I don't know if I want to do all that, because now it messes you up mentally. It's bad already that you go to a tournament and one of your training partners is in the same class you're in. And I've been there when I first started. You know, me and my teammate were in the same weight class and I always finished second to him, third to him. You know, and it kind of, even though we're teammates, we're happy for one another. Don't get me wrong. But I told myself, if this continues, I'll never achieve my goal. I won't. That's just the way it is. When I first came into the sport, I was a 198 puller, and Nano Cruz was my teammate in the early 2010s, excuse me. He was the guy in Oregon, and pretty much the West region. And I knew that if I wanted to achieve my goal and, become, win a state title, I cannot pull in that class, because, he knows me too. I know him. He knows me. He's just more gifted than I was. And so, sometimes you got to kind of break away and go, you know what? I'm going to go up a weight class. I can't do this, because then that way it ushers me new challenges. Now I can reshift my focus on somebody else and not have that weird mental setback because I want to beat him, but then I feel bad he's my teammate. Although we all say that, if I'm going to pull my teammate at a tournament, I'd rather for us to pull first and second. But sometimes, more often times than not, you fucking end up in a first round matchup with him. And, that's just like, fuck,
Yeah, I agree. Because it's always like when people come to a tournament ready to pull and try to win the class, they're not always preparing to face each other, like their own teammates.
Yeah.
But in a tournament, it's very unpredictable. Like, you might. In a super match, though, with like months to prepare, you kind of know, right? Like, have the focus, the ability to prep for that person. So it creates a different outcome, I would assume.
Yeah, it can. And then sometimes you got to dig deep and who wants it more and this and that kind of, things like that. But overall, I mean, just for the production, being that is your first event, I liked it. You had commentary. Hell, you had Brandon Morris emceeing. He's out of Florida to come over here and MC. He did a good job and stuff. So I think you should.
Oh, yeah, Brandon and Jason Latona, they killed their roles. With Sarah Latona, she was helping coordinate things in the Grinder Gym gift shop, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, everyone came through. Like, the referees, Veronica Knight, Voskin, he ran point on the WAF reffing. Alex De La Torre, who in fact is actually the most recent super heavyweight right-handed California state champion. And then we have the legendary Scott Wynn reffing. Like, everyone came through for this. It was awesome to see.
And like I said, you should pat yourself on the back because I know firsthand that it is not easy to put on an event. It's not. And it's like going, are you kidding me? It's like, I'm telling you right now, it's one of those deals where it's like, you know what? When you sit back as an athlete and go, oh man, I can put on a tournament. But now when you put yourself in those shoes, there's so much you got to think. There's so much of a checklist you got to mark off. There's so many I's you got to dot and so many T's you got to cross that it's like, hey, this is not as easy as I thought. And my advice to anybody out there, if people are willing to help you out, accept it. Please don't overstress yourself when it doesn't have to be that complicated. That's just my
Yeah.
my personal opinion with that. I don't know how you felt, but that's my personal thing with that.
I'll say that I'll get a lot better as time goes on, right? Because it's an experience thing.
Right. No, I mean it is, and hopefully, and I think the one thing with this now, because you said the winners have to defend their title, correct?
Yeah, essentially, like this is just a legacy thing for California, right? Like I don't know 100% if I do another King of Cali. I want to, and I feel obligated to because of the importance it has for some people. But people should know that the most prestigious title and ability you can win in the state is the California State Championships, right? Where you pull a tournament class, right?
Oh yeah.
Like this was just about giving people what they wanted to see, right? And I think people should run with this and take it the way they want. Like they can go to the States now and they can talk about how they're a team, like they have the team title, right? Like we can just make this bigger and bigger for the sport of arm wrestling. And before I can really commit to doing another King of Cali, I want to understand more sides of this, right? I want to do a Queen of Cali. Like I just need to take the time to really get the experience that I need.
Well, I'll say this, and tell me if you agree or not. Now that this King of Cali has come and gone, all hands are on deck. What I mean by that, there's another event coming up with Cali in it, and you don't have to do nothing, and it will have a major impact. That is the LA Expo. That is the California State Championships in January. You have to do nothing but sit back and go, okay. So all the Tony Thomasons, the Fishers, the Derek Smiths, Mega Mikes, what have you, and the list goes on, the Dallas Langstons and all that kind of stuff. Well, those guys, I would imagine, will be at the California State LA Expo tournament January 8th, by the way. And I know for a fact now the target's on their back because those names you mentioned, Alex, Luke Kent, maybe, Jamie Sheldon. Oh, don't think for a second those guys wasn't paying attention just because they weren't vocal about the whole thing. They know in the back of their mind, okay, you're the state, you're the King of California. Well, I got something for you come January. So you got the rest of this month. You got October, November, December. You got 3 solid months and some change to get ready for this one. And I assure you, it's going to be happening. I am just glad for the first time ever I get to attend that event. I'm excited, just like that.
Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait for it. I think we've all been waiting because of COVID, right? It's been hard to make tournaments happen in California.
Mm-hmm.
We lost Buena Park and we lost the states for a year. So now that we're getting our states back, it should be intense, right? Because a lot of people, the build up for it is real.
Right. There's a couple comments I want to get to. Jeremy James said food and refreshment vendors wouldn't hurt. I'm not sure if there were any food trucks there, but I know you had the scenery, you had the Pacific Ocean as the backdrop.
I couldn't get any food trucks to do a deposit, and I didn't want to chance advertising food and then not have it, right?
Right.
I talked with almost every food place that was close by, and it was always my goal if there was enough people there that showed up to start ordering food orders, but I didn't have much money that I could put into this. Right. This was a charity event, and I couldn't afford, for this one at least, to drop the cost of having food there. That's why I kept telling people online, bring food. Right? The best I'll probably be able to offer you day of is pizza and donuts. Like I was trying to get people to bring food, and if I had the set, I would have got on the phone and ordered food, but I was running everywhere.
Yeah. Like I said, and guys, I mean, feel free to chip in. So everyone making comments in there, give Kyle some, give him some credit or help him out. Hey, Kyle, what you do? You want me to go ahead and set up some food trucks or whatever? Leo, you get the beer truck, whatever the case may be. Just like, hey, what do you need here to make this event as good as it can be? Alan Fisher, I mean, Mr. Intensity, shaking tables, that kind of. I think he was the reason why he got a boat shit down in the first place. The intensity that he has.
It's funny you say that because Grinder Gym actually has a history of not having tables bolted down at the events that people would come host at. Or one year we had it bolted down, and then I think it was Scott Partington and someone else who ripped the table off the platform.
Crazy, isn't it? Just super crazy. So we also have Carl Stanley out of Florida. He predicts, hey, how about 2022? And again, this is, you want to see how this goes, and you still got to do some more research. He says, how about a King of Florida versus King of California? Now, that might be interesting.
Yeah, that's a goal. It's a loose goal because we would have to sit down, figure out how we can make it happen, make it make sense, right? Because Brandon and I were talking about that a little bit before King of Cali even took place, right? Just the idea of it. So there is definitely some potential there. Because I think in the future, Brandon agrees with me, every state should have like a king type event, something fun. Like you have states, you have king events, you have other things, right? Like it doesn't have to be a king event, just something loosely based off it. Every state can take it and do their own thing with it,
Oh yeah, and I got some ideas for like what Oregon can do, and it's weird how like I'm sitting in the hot tub yesterday with my wife, and we're kind of throwing on the idea and stuff, and because they went camping and she came back and we were talking. She was like, "Well, how'd the event go?" I was like, "Oh, it went pretty good and stuff." And I want to kind of do something like that in Oregon, but just kind of put a little twist on it. She was like, "Well," and we were talking back and forth for like maybe 30, 40 minutes about it. So I'm still got some ideas and stuff. And then we're gonna, throw some stuff around and we're gonna see what we can do. But yeah, that's why I kind of like when you said that every state should have something like that, just to kind of go, okay. Because right now, the state of Oregon, we do not have an Oregon State Championships. We had one last year for the first time in many years, and it's almost a dying breed, which is unfortunate. But I guess we're gonna have to just create something. That's why we created the Oregon rankings to kind of get some juice going. No pun intended. To get some juice going in our state, because if we don't have a state title, then how do we know who's the best? Well, we got this ranking system, and we're trying to base it to where, hey, how about the top two guys in each weight class? You guys pull the best of three. That winner puts their name in the hat for the King of Oregon or whatever. I got some stuff going on. I'm thinking in my brain, and I'm thinking, okay, this can possibly work, but let me get through IFA Worlds first. Let me get done with the Fallen Heroes event, and then I can really zone in on that kind of stuff, and then I can probably come up with something. But yeah, I agree with you. Every state should probably do something like that,
Yeah, I think ultimately, like, our goals are all aligned. We're just trying to grow the sport.
Right.
People want more opportunities, and ultimately, eyes in the sport. People that want to come to an event, no matter what, whether it's tournament, super matches, practice, anything. That's what I think grows the sport.
Right. Because I think the King of New York had like the Queen and King of New York. They got like a crown and like a robe or something like that. The King of Florida had theirs.
I didn't even know. So the crown idea has already been done then.
Yeah. I mean, I think Mike Aiello and Tim Breslin won that thing a few times. King of Florida had their thing not too long ago. You had yours this past weekend with a crown. I'm thinking of doing something separate, something a little different, but I'm not going to tell you what's going on because I don't want nobody stealing my idea. So, but I'm thinking about doing something, it's going to be good. And Carl Stanley just said, hey, Jody, can't wait to meet you at Worlds. Yes. And let's talk about that for a second. 7 days from today.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to be rocking and rolling in Florida. Matter of fact, Florida might detach from the rest of the country because it's going to be so busy down there in Orlando. And I know for a fact, I'm going to be ready to crack any non-American on the table. End of. Maybe Europe. I don't know. Eastern, Western, Southern Europe. It doesn't matter. I don't care what country you're from. They will know what a Pez dispenser is by the fucking time they leave here. Okay. So I'm going to tell you that right now. Okay. If I got to take all my Pez Nation guys with me, I will let them know. I'm weird like that. I will say, look, man, this is real, because we as Americans, we don't know when the worlds will come here again. When I say here, I meant North America. And by the way, they're going to have a meeting. So in that meeting next week, they're going to figure out, hey, where will the 2022 IFA Worlds be held at? So they're going to have that meeting next weekend. We already know next year's IFA Nationals will be right back in Texas, okay? Dallas, I would imagine, okay? So we already got that established. Then I don't, and now it's back on. Only this time.
Yeah, I heard it's back on.
Yeah, they changed the date. Now it's in, instead of September, it's in the weekend of Thanksgiving, the 27th of November, and it moved from the Republic of Georgia. Now it's going to Romania. I don't want to make this topic on show between you and I about them versus them, but if you guys feel free, you want to talk about that in a separate thread, go ahead. But this is about the King of Cali. What can we do to make it better? That's only if you have the resources to do it with. So my suggestion is everybody who went there and loved it, they should help you out with that. Hey, I'll take care of food. That's one less thing you got to worry about. Hey, I'll make sure the venue's all good. That's one less thing you got to worry about. Maybe that might help things. What do you think?
For sure. But more than anything, I would like to put focus on that. Those people were there. It was just the organizing that falls on me.
Right.
Like it's my experience when it comes to organizing that. Like I had plenty of people there, even 7 hours before, that were there to help. Right. So
good.
It really just comes down to how well I can organize the event, because we had our referees, we had people working in the store, we had Steve Serber, the man who taught me how to arm wrestle. He was making sure people were signing waivers, going around doing that. I had EMTs that took care of the one arm break that we had. We had people that were selling stuff. Like we really had a lot of help. I don't want people to think that this was like some event where people weren't there to help. Like we really had a lot of support on this. Good time. And improvements can be made for the next one.
Oh yeah. Anytime you have an event, you sit back and when it's all said and done, you kind of go, okay, what went good? Cool. Can we do a little bit better at that? Then you got your list of, okay, what can we do better at? You just got to go down the list, and hey, maybe next year we should do this, or maybe next year we should do that, and I'm glad that this is your brainchild, I don't know if you have a King of California committee, so to speak, but
I may need one. I don't know if I can make all these decisions myself in the future.
Yeah, don't feel like you have to like do everything by yourself. If you got, because I put on my first ever tournament that wasn't, aligned with Wall, because when Wall had their 50 state thing and I was one of the directors, it was pretty much, just add water, do the tournament, where this one had to do from scratch for the most part. And I had a lot of people help out, like, hey, we supplied the tables, got to make sure we had straps and chalks. And, Denise and Leonard really helped me out there with the awards and all that kind of good stuff. We had a supply of venue. And thank God that day in June, I mean, we had the Chutes River in the backdrop, it was outside. We had a covered area. We had to supply, my wife and I, we had to supply like the pop-up tents, because it was a hot day that day. So that way we knew everything was in the shade. Everyone brought, the parking sucked, but it's just the location. But, it was awesome. We couldn't ask for a better, weather was awesome. There was just right before all the fucking wildfires took place. And it was awesome. And, when you had everybody wanting to help out, food truck, snacks and everything, we did all that kind of stuff. And we even had my kids, okay, look, you're in charge of the merchandise here. You're in charge of the, with the drinks and camera and snacks, all that kind of stuff. So everybody had a job and it made things a lot easier. So if by chance, if you get a situation like that, I would strongly suggest that.
And
Yeah.
it's very important. It is.
Well, good. I'm glad,
Sure.
So what's next for you now? Now that this is all said and done, what is next for you, competition-wise, maybe, or what's going on with you?
Well, competition-wise, I only have one thing that I can confirm right now.
Okay.
A couple things that are in the works, but for myself, I just want to go win the junior world titles in IFA.
There it is. There it is. I can't wait to see you down there. And there and all my United States comrades. We're gonna have a blast. I'm telling you, because take advantage of this, people, because again, you'll never know when it comes back to North America. Take it full advantage, because it's gonna be fun. The one time, I'm rooting for guys like, hey, because of the fact that here I am, I'm going down to Florida. There's going to be people in Florida and everywhere else I don't really know, but they're cheering for you and give you that much more energy and stuff, or high-fiving you and stuff. And then, you finally meet some of these people for the first time in person forever, but you contact them through social media or whatnot. It's going to be exciting. I can't wait to get down there,
Yeah, it's going to be such an awesome event, I think, Jody. I mean, huge thank you to Denise for putting this on and working so tirelessly to make this one happen for us.
Right. Off the top of your head, because we had a question here from Preacher Arm Wrestling. Now that the event is done, off the top of your head, can you explain what would you change or make different about what went down?
There's really nothing. I wish I would have stressed less going into the process, right? Like, got more sleep and that sort of thing. Because, I mean, I did try to organize things, but I think organizing something that takes time, right? It takes experience, You have to live it. You have to do it before you can expect to do all these things, because I was trying to check a lot of boxes. Right. And I think I checked everything that was important to me. Like when you set like papers aside and you write what's the most important to yourself, what you would also hope to accomplish, and what you think adds a little bit more value. Yeah. I feel like I accomplished all the things that I had to accomplish. Right. However, the other things were important to me as well, right? And I couldn't accomplish everything that I wanted to do, but we had a great pro card, great matches, great athletes, great referees. We had a great after party. Like, the pro card lasted a long time. The after party went till 10 at Grinder Gym. And then we had an after party downtown, VIP tables, like a club. Like, that was crazy. So, like, all the stuff that were important to me to accomplish for this event, I feel like I did. But there's more stuff I want to improve on, like food trucks, right? And just having things even a little bit better. So it's going to take time for me. Well, good. Now, Blanca Vega's on here. She says, hey, she is down if you want to do something for the ladies. So already. Yeah, well, Queen of Cali is my next big California project. And then anything else I do, I hope to also do very well. But Queen of Cali would be my main focus for California coming up. Blanca, you're watching the show. So there you have it. So girls, you're next. So what I would do, and you don't got to take my word for it, just keep training and just sit back and wait for the announcement, since that's going to be priority right now, because we got to get the ladies involved. We can't grow the sport without the ladies. So you got to get them involved. And if you get the ladies involved in California, when it comes to arm wrestling, I assure you, the queen, Lori Cole, some way, somehow will help you out with that event. Lori is my mentor for that event. I expect to see. She's already helping me. Right. And she's absolutely crucial. Whether she wants her name to be on it or not, I don't think she does, just because that's not the person she is. But when you think behind the scenes, like, who am I working with to try to make that event super special? Mm-hmm. It's definitely Lori Colt. What I like to see from Lori, maybe I don't want to put her on the spot. What I like to see is, once the Queen of California has been, declared the winner, if there's a princess crown or a queen crown, if you happen to go that route, I would love to see Lori Cole present that to the winner.
I would love to see
I
it.
would too. I think that's extra special because Lori's so decorated in the sport. She's done so much for the women's classes. She's contributed so much, and most of it's unknown too.
Yeah.
So
I would love to see that happen. I mean, just from a legend going, hey, you know, welcome to the club, extending the olive branch, you know. I mean, that's royalty right there, in my opinion. I mean, I could be wrong, but that's arm wrestling royalty from a lady's standpoint to have Lori Cole present you with that. I mean, come on, it don't get no better than that. I'm telling you. If I'm one of the ladies in California, I got goosebumps up and down my neck going, damn, if that ain't motivation enough right there to kick every woman's ass on the table and have, hey, it's almost like a guy when they go to the Arnold and you in your weight class and you have Arnold present you with a handshake and a jacket or a medal, whatever. That's the female version of that in California, right there. That's all I'm saying. That's just my 2 cents. You can agree or disagree, but that's just how I feel about that, you know?
Yeah. All I'll say right now for Queen of Cali is that I agree 100% because the most important detail, because I have started the logistics behind it. Like, I've been writing it out. I've been trying to figure it out in my head. But the thing I'll share with you guys right now is just that Lori's my main mentor in trying to bring that to light. It's going to be, you know, me working as hard as I can to try to make that special.
Right.
And I'll try to do my best with that one. I have a lot of time now to work on it. And there's other things I'll be doing in the meantime. Like I'll be starting up some high school clubs in my where I live.
Oh, good.
And then trying to just grow the presence of arm wrestling as much as I can, just like everyone else is in California, right? Like we have tons of Southern Cali teams that work tirelessly trying to grow the sport. So I'm just going to try to do what I can, do my part.
I like it, man. I like it. That's going to be exciting stuff. And I just sit back and I'll wait for it. But again, I know you got a lot on your plate. You know, if you can, don't be overly stressed out because I know that, you know, I don't want your hair falling out and stuff like that, you know. So don't get too stressed out or something like that because you have all the help that's needed. So, I mean, people are reaching out going, I mean, people out here on the chat saying, Kyle, you're doing a great job. Let me know what I can do to help in so many words. So don't get overly stressed out. Just know that you do have people to have your back. And so job well done, my friend. Pat yourself on the back because you do deserve it. And that's only step one.
Thank you.
You know what I mean? It's only step one. So
thank you.
But my friend, I want to thank you because I'm glad we did get on here and talk about that because, you know, it was something big. I know it's your brainchild. It was something that needed to happen because there's a lot of question marks because California is a huge state. And, you know, it was something that needed to be done and it got done. Now, again, with that momentum, and as I said earlier in the show, that will carry over to the LA Expo, you know, and I think because it's King California, that'll make the LA Expo that much more bigger, I think, and more important. Maybe, maybe not, but I think it will. That's just my honest opinion, you know?
So, well, that's my goal. I want the LA Fit Expo. Like, Bill's the best promoter in my mind that there ever will be, not just for arm wrestling, but just in terms of when I look to someone who inspires me the most from a promotion standpoint, it's always been Bill. It's always been Bill Collins. I've worked with people under people. Like I've worked the motocross events in San Diego under Travis and Ben. Like I've been involved in a lot. However, Bill's always inspired me the most.
Gotcha.
So I'm hoping to make these events give back to the best event of California, which is California States. You know, I just want to help make that big if I can. You know.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Well, my friend, you did an awesome job, and we all look forward to seeing you do some good stuff again down the road. So, Kyle, once again, my friend, I want to thank you for joining me on the show, so we can both put a bow tie on this great event. And thank you, and I will talk to you down the road.
Jody.
Thanks a lot, my friend.
Thanks for having me on.
Yes, sir. We'll talk to you soon.
Awesome.
Take care. That was Kyle DePew, the brainchild that is King of Cali, right? I can't wait for the Queen of Cali. I can't wait for the King of California number 2. But again, guys, for those things to happen, we all need to help each other out. And I know for a fact, just reading on these the chat over here, all you guys are willing to help them out to make the event bigger, So let's go ahead and do what we got to do. Okay. Awesome job, Kyle. Can't wait to see the next event because it triggered me to do something for Oregon. And rest assured, I got some ideas. Y'all gonna have to wait for it. Now, moving forward, next week, IFA Championships, World, if you may. This is going to be exciting, right? I'm excited to be a part of it. I'm excited to have the opportunity to represent this country at the highest level. Now, I don't want to get into a fisticuff about, but the real athletes are in this federation and blah, 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 blah. I'm not even worried about that because the bottom line is when I put on that Team USA shirt, hold on for a second. When I put on that Team USA shirt, I'm going to tell you right now, where the hell is it? Oh, my God. Oh, it's here somewhere. Yes. When I put on that Team USA shirt next weekend, oh, yeah, your boy's going to be ready. All right? Because I know y'all going to be cheering for me, and damn sure I'm going to be cheering for all my teammates out there because the rest of the world, y'all in trouble. Don't think that y'all going to walk in our country. You understand? Do not even think you're going to come in our backyard and walk away with medals. I ain't having it. I know y'all feel the same. We have to protect our turf. End of. That's it. We have the job to do. That's to go out there, represent this, claim what is ours. End of. And that's all I'm going to say about that. So for all you guys down there and girls going down there to Orlando, Florida, my brothers and sisters, I will see you down there. Y'all have a safe flight. Until then, like always, see ya. When I see ya, you guys enjoy your Whopper Wednesday.